So I will start by zooming into Education 5.0. Based on the historical facts that are there in Zimbabwe and what happened after independence and the brain drain that happened in Zimbabwe after independence, after the unity government in 1987, we realized that many industries had died. Many jobs were in extinction. There were no jobs. So now the president, the former president, Robert Gabriel, requested that Nzilamasanga and his team come into unison to discuss, to investigate what the problem was. So the idea was to say, we are not progressive. We inherited a gem of Africa. We inherited a nation that was rich. At one point, the Zimbabwean dollar was even more than the British pound in terms of value. So what is going on? What is wrong with us? So that was observed that our education system was preparing the students to be employees, not employment creators. So that's the background that is there. So come to 2015, when we had Amon Mugira as the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education. I think there's some innovation that was added in there. He was saying institutions of higher learning should be the hub of our economy, where we are saying everything that we learn in our classes should be transmuted into their physical equivalents in terms of economic development, in terms of monetary terms, where he was saying, yes.
Is that what you're supposed to do in your presentation, or you're giving us the
I'm giving you a history, but we have a document. Yeah? What? You want me to read the document? Guys, no, you're not. Don't get confused.
We are just referring to the question that you gave us.
Who is we?
All of us. And my friend.
No, can you listen? Can you listen? I'm saying under institutions of higher and tertiary education, go to option 2, question number 3. That question talks about how we could assist lecturers to adopt Education 5.0. So I'm giving a background so that you understand.
Okay.
My colleagues are going to come. They are going to come. So yes.
All right. I think we should give you time.
Yes.
Right. In the introduction, I think yes, mentioned that they are beginning with the rationale.
Yes.
So that is what is there.
So what we are saying is Education 5.0 is a philosophy that has 5 pillars. It is an educational philosophy that has 5 pillars. And these 5 pillars are namely teaching, the other one is community service, the other one is research, and the other one is innovation, and we have industrialization. So there are 5 pillars: teaching, community service, research, innovation, and industrialization. So before Education 5.0, we had Education 3.0, which was preparing students for being employees only, not employment creators. So that is when we had to add, or the minister had to add, the 2 other pillars, that is innovation and industrialization. Because we are saying if we are good in research and we don't transmit those ideas into companies, those ideas into prototypes, those ideas into money, then we are imagining, we are fantasizing about education. Then when we innovate, we industrialize our nation, which is the goal of us being a middle income economy by 2030, of which is not a political thing. This is a UN-based sustainable development goal that is there. So with that, I'm going to introduce one of my colleagues who is going to talk about teaching in detail. Teaching in detail and how the lecturers from these universities should adopt teaching as a way of being part of Education 5.7. You understand? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, my presentation will be on teaching and learning in detail. This pillar focuses on the delivery of structured knowledge, cognitive development, and foundational competencies. It remains the backbone of higher education, but is now expected to be experiential and problem-based rather than purely theoretical. This was quoted from Tabinga 2025 and Garrett 2023. Then we go on teaching and learning from lecture delivery to knowledge incubation. Teaching under Education 5.0 is no longer the passive transmission of knowledge. It is the engineering of thinking capacity where students are shaped into problem solvers, creators, and innovators. It shifts from I teach, you write exams to I facilitate, you build, test, fail, improve, and produce. Then in Zimbabwe reality, we have examples whereby at a traditional university, a business lecturer teaches entrepreneurship theory under Education 5.0. For an example, students here at MSU, whereby they are required to create to create actual micro enterprises, manage group budgets, sell real products, e.g., detergents, craft, food products. The lecturer becomes a mini economic classroom, whereby the lecturer transformation expectations are to design problem-based modules, replace memorization exams with project output grading, supervise students' production cycles. Then also suggestions. Institutions must require 50% of assessment based on practical output, compulsory community or market-facing projects. Then how this connects on other pillars. Teaching becomes the launchpad of innovation. Without it, innovation has no raw material. I will hand over to someone who's going to talk about research. Thank you.
Morning once again. I will look at research in brief. So research under 5.0 is not limited to publication, but is expected to generate contextual solutions to national problems such as agriculture, energy, health systems. Then universities are expected to become knowledge production hubs. Moving forward, just a moment, I'm having problems with my technology. Research under 5.0 is not about academic prestige, but national problem resolution and product generation. From this point, it will mean that research is not for self-aggrandizement. Right? It shifts from publish or perish, where we have noted in many cases, many from the academia rushing to publish, because there is a notion that if you don't publish, you perish. So it should be a problem-solving approach. Therefore, This will mean that lecturers will have to help solve, otherwise we will remain stagnant. Let's look at the Zimbabwean example. At the University of Zimbabwe, instead of researching abstract theories on agriculture, lecturers should develop drought-resistant seed systems. That's number one. Number two, low-cost irrigation technologies. Number three, soil fertility innovations. Then from there we will move to real transformation, where research becomes prototype-driven, community-tested, industry-linked. Then there is the other part, which is the lecturer expectation. Lecturers must be capacitated in terms of finances, others call it finances. Yes, we are in the same book, maybe different pages. Right? They must be capacitated in terms of finances, incentivized properly. Properly meaning that properly. I've been incentivized myself, for example, from 2013, where I joined the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education as a teacher. I've been incentivized many times, but they can lack the word properly there. This is what I'm talking about. Right? Once they are incentivized properly, they are going to collaborate with farmers, hospitals, small to medium enterprises, to convert these into working prototypes. Then they are going to co-publish with industry stakeholders. We are going to look at my suggestion. Every faculty should, number one, research to product pipeline units. Number two, mandatory community validation stage. Then summarily, linked system. Research feeds innovation. Without it, innovation becomes imitation. I hope my presentation has been vociferous. Thank you. This is a relay approach. Listen, this is a relay approach. I'm going to hand over to someone. Thank you.
Good morning. My presentation is about community service as one of the pillars of Education 5.0. Before I go on, let me inform the House about what is community service. According to ACHA 2000, community service has been defined as structured activity that meets community needs while promoting student learning and reflection. From that definition, one may define community service as a voluntary work done by individuals or group of people without payment. By saying voluntary means it is to be done free, willingly, without being forced. But then, how institutions may capacitate lecturers to facilitate this community service? One, institutions will provide training in community-based learning methods. Provide training in community-based learning methods, whereby lecturers will be trained in self-learning and participatory learning, which may link in community engagement. For example, an MSU lecturer can be trained to design modules where students work with the community, like developing sanitation solutions in high-density suburbs. What is the impact? This may help lecturers to link community service into teaching and assessment. Number 2, tertiary institutions should build partnership with communities and stakeholders, whereby they create links with rural communities like local councils, NGOs, and rural communities. For example, through collaboration with local authority, with local council in Zimbabwe, lecturers can place students in community work with waste management projects or water projects. What is the impact of this? Lecturers may gain access for real life environments for student learning. Number 3, by providing funding for community projects, whereby institutions must allocate grants and the budget specifically for community service. For example, with the support of Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology, lecturers can fund student-led projects like borehole drilling, nutritional gardens, and youth entrepreneurship training. Then the impact of this, lecturers may be able to supervise well-resourced projects. Number 4, institutions should provide logistical support like transport and equipments, whereby community service often requires movement and tools. For example, institutions can provide transport to rural areas, they can also provide equipment like farming tools and ICT devices. What is the impact? Lecturers can effectively supervise fieldwork without resource limitations.
All right, thank you. I think we are done with the 3.0, the first 3 pillars. Now let's move on to innovation, which is the pillar number 4. Innovation refers to the process where you convert knowledge into products, where you convert ideas into enterprises, where you convert thoughts into companies. So what are we saying about this? We are saying when we teach, when we do community service, when we research, those ideas should be seen to solve certain problems that we face in the community. And what is the role of the lecturers? The lecturers should have that a shifted mindset of not remaining in the class, but being at the forefront of development, forefront of innovation, managing the hubs, being the face of development. So this is why we are saying when you are innovative, as a lecturer, you can't innovate when you're not equipped. What should the government do to the lecturers? Because we are talking about the issues that we need to raise so that we capacitate our lecturers. Our lecturers need continuous professional development. They need to be developed. They need to be equipped. They need to be exposed to that which they teach. A lecturer can't teach a student to be a billionaire, yet he doesn't even have any intention or any hope of becoming a billionaire. So that's another issue that we are talking about when we're talking about innovation. Then we quickly move on to, because of time, we quickly move on to the issue of industrialization. When we are talking about industrialization, we should be seeing industries inside institutions of higher and tertiary education. We have an example of Chinhoyi University of Technology. They have an insemination project, the artificial insemination project, where they take semen from bulls and sell them. I think they earn more than $6 million. We are talking about economy. So we are saying before we even release the students to the industry, they should be effective. They should be contributing into the economy. At one point when I was in college, we had a meeting with the president, fortunately, when he was still new in power, in April 2018. We told him that the issue that we are having right now, the issue of strikes, the issue of all these disturbances because of students who are saying, we don't want you to raise the fees, can be thwarted only by capacitating those students who are in higher tertiary education. How to capacitate them? Everyone who attends the first semester becomes ready for the service in which he is enrolled for, or the course in which he is enrolled for. So our proposal was to say, let's form companies as students. Let's have all those big companies which are getting contracts from the government, subcontract student-owned companies. The student-owned companies can write to universities to say, allow these people to learn, because we have means. As students, we have means, we have companies. And when we have means at companies, we can make a promise, because payment of fees can be done either in cash, can be done in advance, can be done in arrears. So the negotiation becomes that of a corporate body, not that of an individual, to an institution. See? So that was the issue of industrialization, where you form industries, where you have companies, where you have your ideas transmuted into their physical equivalent. Now, what is it that we are saying? We are saying lecturers should gravitate from their teaching methods that were there, way back, the lecture method, and they should incorporate the student-centered approaches in teaching. And that also reminds me of that issue that we call, that animal that we call a curriculum that we discussed yesterday, where we said, according to Tyler, we are saying there are 4 stages that are there. There are 4 key pillars in curriculum designing, where we are saying we have a problem as a country. What is it that we want to solve becomes the objectives of our curriculum. The objectives which are smart, objectives which are specific, objectives which are measurable, objectives which are time-bound, and everything. And what is it that we are going to do when we are implementing this curriculum? What kind of teaching strategies are we going to have? The lecturers are using the lecture method. They should shift their methodology to problem-based methods of teaching. Then after that, what about the content? What kind of content should we give to our students? And for content, we are saying a lecturer can't impart matter when he is not exposed. That lecturer should be exposed to that kind of matter so that he can impart it. Then after that, we talk about the assessment. What are the assessment strategies that are there? Have we done what we were supposed to do? After implementing 5.0, are we in line with 5.0, or 5.0 is just a pipe dream? That's another thing that I wanted to link with the curriculum design, but in line with Education 5.0, which is meant to transform Zimbabwe into a nation of opportunities, a nation where people are there to create employment, people are there to create enterprises, people are there to produce in bulk so that we can export. After we export, we create employment, we create opportunities for everyone, and we beat the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Thank you very much.